Hey guys, do you ever feel bad about not eating enough vegetables, or do you ever feel bad after you get done hearing people just go rant about eating vegan or eating vegetarian or all that? Well, my speech today is gonna inform you about that because eating that sort of diet and living that sort of lifestyle may not all be what you think it is. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is the Forks Over Knives documentary that my first speech covered. There was some serious flaws in the research and the way they presented their data that they found. And the first thing that a lot of things that are get referred to is the rat study. And the whole thing with the rat study is they injected the rats with aflatoxin, which is, I'm pretty sure how you pronounce it, and then fed, the 5% protein diet and 20% protein diet, casein protein or animal protein, which the two are used interchangeably, but not all casein protein is animal protein. So that was one vague detail that they didn't really mention. Well, anyways, the thing about the rat study was um, the rats that were fed a 5% low protein diet did not develop cancer, but they did die before the rats that had a high protein diet. So the high protein diet rats may have developed some like uh sickness, and but they didn't die from it. And so, I mean, would you rather die early, or would you develop cancer and like die later on? I mean, the rats died anyways at a younger age than the high protein diet rats. So that was one serious bit of information that they had left out. So I mean, they may not have died from cancer, but they certainly died before the other rats did. And then there was another study done with monkeys instead of rats, and monkeys that were fed low protein diets had like these lesions on their liver, and the monkeys that were fed a high protein diet didn't have that sort of problem. So you can see how everything's kind of reversed, and we didn't know that information either. So that was the first flaw, or yeah, the first flaw that I'm gone over. The second one is um, they also mentioned the China study, which the whole thing with the China study is there are correlations between things, but correlations do not necessarily mean that it was a cause and effect relationship. It just means, you know, generally where you found one scenario, there was another scenario that it was connected to, and they may not have caused each other, but it was just a correlation. And the doctor in Works Over Knives just presented the fact that there was hardly any meat or dairy products, and there was no heart diseases in those areas either, where these people weren't eating those sorts of things. And it's shown as a cause and effect, but that's the fallacy of it. It's just a correlation. It's not a cause and effect. And what is true actually is the inverse of that. It doesn't mean that eating more meat prevents cancer, but really what was shown in the statistics was that people who did eat meat had a lower chance of, developing heart diseases. And so, another thing about that was a lot of people think that meat contributes to cholesterol also and plaque buildup, but there is, if you actually go out and look at the information that was presented by Denise Minger, who just did a critique and review over the science of forks over knives. She also talked about how the meat food that we do eat doesn't really contribute to the cholesterol. I mean, obviously there is a certain lifestyle that someone has to develop to be, really fit and healthy, but the thing is, there are certain people whose bodies are responsive to meat intake, and but the people whose bodies were, really susceptible to that sort of thing, their good and bad cholesterol went up in proportion, so that couldn't have caused heart disease or any other sickness because everything stayed in proportion, and that was the big deal. Um, So the body is actually really good about not letting plaque build up in the bloodstream or, the cholesterol. Body can be very responsive to those things, and people don't know that. So that is the actual science of food, uh, plant-based foods. And there you go, guys. Hope you liked it.